Raider Nation, it's your boy Dub Raider with my brother from another mother, Chris from Protect the Shield podcast. Welcome to another week of the Raider Nation's Weekly Wire. This week, we have news. Yes, real news that we're gonna, well, if you haven't seen it on Chris's show, The War Room, or haven't seen it on the internet, I don't know where you've been, but hey, we're here to fill in those gaps for the ones that haven't. We're gonna be covering a lot of new items that have been occurring with the Raider organization. But first, Chris, how you doing, my brother? I know you had a long night last night and had work today. How you holding on?
Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good. It was definitely a long night, man, doing a lot of content, with the schedule being released, and I'm doing good, man. I'm excited. I told myself I wasn't going to drink the Kool-Aid this year, but, man, I'm really getting excited for the season. I can't lie, man. I can't lie. So, but I'm feeling good.
I've been trying not to, but watching your guys' show, got me excited for a couple of games, man.
Yeah.
A couple of games that I saw big L's. I'm kind of like, well, maybe, there could be a possibility, but still, not jumping in head first, kind of going to start it slow. But yeah, man, I commend you for everything that you've been doing. You've been working, my brother. You've been working.
Yeah, I've been trying, man. You've
gotten some great interviews with rookies, with ex-Raider players, with the War Room breaking down the Raider schedule and players, and it's just amazing what you've been doing, and you keep it up, brother. Keep it up.
I appreciate it. I really appreciate it.
Yes, sir. So, Raider Nation, this week we are going to cover a few topics. The draft picks that have been signed, saying goodbye to our friend Derek Carr, the player transactions that the Raiders have been doing, and obviously our schedule. And all this will be covered, since we missed it last week, on Chris's Weekly Word. So if you don't know what Chris's Weekly Word is we just, again, cover the latest news, and Chris and myself give our points of view on what we think of what's going on with the Raider organization. But first, before starting with these topics, I want to ask you, Chris, you've seen the Raiders drop schedule video, right?
Yeah.
How hilarious was it this year, brother, man?
They did a heck of a job, man. They just kind of like the little digs at teams and the little small innuendos. I think they did a very, very good job. Like the Kansas City guy pulling out the flags.
The flags, right.
Like, it was just little stuff like that. It was, I think they did a real good job. Real good job. I mean, yeah,
it was the best one I've seen. The one that got me was the Cowboys one. The one with the little card with the frame on the wall. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe they did that.
Yeah, that was crazy. Yeah, with the index card. That was hilarious, actually. That was hilarious.
Yeah. And then the poop on the ground for the dog pound against the Browns game. Man, it was hilarious. Nation, if you haven't seen it, I will be incorporating an excerpt right about now.
So I heard Tom Brady's in the building today with John Spytek.
Yeah, there they are right up there.
Hey Tom, great draft class, some great free agents. We got Pete Carroll. You ready for the season? Let's go.
All right, everyone. So the next stop on our tour will be our 3 Super Bowl trophies. The first 2 while we were in Oakland, and our third while we were the Los Angeles Raiders.
Of the 3 teams that played in Los Angeles, how many have won a Super Bowl?
2 have. 1, not so much. Who wants to see the team room?
'1983 was a good year.
Yeah, I remember like it was yesterday. Let me see that, Jim.
Touchdown.
Holy Toledo.
Whoa.
Here at Raiders headquarters, we love to make everything authentically and with love. Come on, that needs more sauce!
Yes, sir!
Hey, you guys are taking too long, let's go!
Yes, sir!
Pat, what is up? That's burned!
Yes, sir!
You call yourself a chef? That looks like bear s***!
Yes, sir!
Dang, AJ.
Welcome to the dark side.
Going up.
Hey, where's the flags?
Grab one there.
You can grab it over there and get a penalty flag over here. Let me see, how about here? There we go, there's one here. And how about here? There's one here. Good reaction, good reaction.
Las Vegas Raiders, this is JP Jackson Powers Johnson. Yeah, no, I can definitely help you out with that. Anything else? No? Just always remember, go Raiders.
Jackson, what was that?
Just working hard.
I've been with the Raiders for over 5 years now, and nothing surprises me. Cute pony.
It's good, but let's have a closer look.
Yeah, let's have a closer look.
What you think? Very good. Good. Yeah, looks good.
Hey, yo, come on, man. What's going on?
It was bring your dog to work day today, bro. Man.
Come on, man.
What's that smell?
Can I get some help?
Here we go. Terrible son! There we go. Easy, man. Easy, man.
Hey, thanks,
Yeah,
guys.
yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Here we go.
Come on, you got it. Good shot.
Oh, you think of?
Gotcha, bro. This.
Come on, Max.
Guys, white, not blue.
Hey, Coach, your chewing gum for the year's here. Where do you want me to put it?
Hey, where's flag?
All right.
That's good stuff.
For those of you that have already seen it, you know what we're talking about. But the Raider organization definitely put some work into it. Very creative.
They did their
thing. I didn't expect something like this. Last year was cool. You know, it was very serious, very tough. Like, we're the Raiders. You know, but this year they definitely got down. They definitely got down. But anyway, let's proceed with our first topic, which is our draft picks. They've all been signed, correct?
Yeah, they were all they were actually all signed before minicamp or like during minicamp. Yes. Yeah, and that I love that because, you know, I know in years past we've had, you know, waiting on rookies to sign and all that stuff. So I love getting them all signed, taking care of the business beforehand, so then they can get out on the field, you know, with their mind clear and no issues. So, you know, good job to the front office to make sure, you know, that happened and everything seemed to be going pretty smoothly. So
yeah, most definitely, man. Because for me, I wasn't even expecting it because usually they take so long. It's such a stretched out process.
Yeah.
That when I saw that, I'm like, wait a minute, they signed all of them?
All of them.
Already? I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Like that's impressive. You know, that goes to show that our front office, our leadership is definitely taking steps in the right direction for the organization. And
it feels different, doesn't it? Doesn't it just feel different?
It does.
It just feels different.
It's a little scary because it's new.
Yeah.
Or at least new for the past few years, but it's a good new. You know, it's showing us that they want to win. They want to make this organization a good organization and make the Raiders what we remember from way back when. So, you know, I'm very excited that they all got their contract signed. I know Ashton Jency got a nice payday, huh?
Yeah, oh yeah, fully guaranteed. Yeah, he got a
What was it,
nice
30
chunk of
some
change.
million, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So it was a nice chunk of change, man. Good for him. You know, he deserves it now. He's got to show it.
Yeah, you got to show it. You got to prove we made the right investment.
Yes, sir. You know, and since everybody had been speculating that running backs aren't really the priority in the NFL anymore, and, you know, we went and jumped the gun, hopefully he turned out to be for our running backs what Janikowski became for our kickers. You know, because remember, when we drafted Sebastian Janikowski, number 1 draft pick, a kicker? Who does that? But hey, man, Janikowski did it for us for many years and many years.
He did.
So yeah, Raider Nation, so we got all our boys in. They're all signed, sealed, ready to deliver. Our next point, this could be a sad one. It could be, you know, whatever thing, but Derek Carr calls it a career. You know, after playing with us, playing with the Saints, you know, he decides to hang up his cleats and, you know, retire. From what I've been hearing, it's been based on medical conditions. What are your thoughts on that, Chris? Or what have you heard about his retirement?
Yeah, you know, he's had some issues. I think it was with his shoulder, I believe. I think he was going to have to get surgery and, you know, kind of go through that whole process. I mean, it sounds like he just didn't want to do it. And then plus I heard there was some other things going on. I know him and his wife lost a baby.
Yeah,
and I think she had a miscarriage. You know, probably, and plus, honestly, he probably doesn't like how the organization, the last 2 years, they drafted a quarterback.
Right.
Trying to kind of figure out what their long-term plan at quarterback's going to be. No, he probably just figures out, you know, I'm going to call it a career, focus on my family. You know, salute to him.
Yeah, definitely, man. And that's definitely something that, even though I had never been a very big Carr fan, you know, he was great before he got hurt with the Raiders.
Yeah.
After that, you know, I just couldn't support him anymore. But as a man, as a person of God, you know, highly commendable individual, you know, and him retiring really shows me how much dedication he has to his family, you know, because he left, what, 30 mil on the table, but he's showing us that family is first. You know, and to that, I salute Derek Carr. I hope he has a great career after football, which I'm pretty sure he will. You know?
Yeah, he's a likable guy for the most part. So, you know, he could probably be on TV somewhere, or, you know, maybe get into coaching or whatever he plans on doing. I mean, he has he got a lot more options than me and you. So I'm sure he'll be okay.
Definitely. Yeah, you know, I have a feeling, you know, that he's gonna end up with the Raider organization. Maybe not in coaching, but somewhere in the front office, or maybe on TV. You know, like many other players have done. You know, because he's a likable person. You know, he's somewhat charismatic.
Yeah.
When he talks, he's a funny guy. So, you know, maybe he does stay with the organization. What are your thoughts on him potentially signing a one-day contract and retiring officially as a Raider? Do you think that's a good idea? Do you not really care? What are your thoughts? Because I know you're not a big you weren't a big Carr fan.
Yes. No, I mean, I definitely think, you know, it should happen. You know, Carr, you know, regardless of how you feel about Carr, you know, he was a Raider through and through. You know, he loved this team. He worked hard. He wanted us to do well. So, you know, regardless. So I definitely think, you know, go ahead and give him that one-day contract. You know, bring him back to be able to retire a Raider. Because ultimately, no one's really going to remember his Saints days.
Right.
At the end of the day. So, you know, when you think Derek Carr, you're always going to think of, you know, the Raiders. And you know, at least he gave us stability for so long when we didn't have no stability. So
definitely.
Yeah. So, you know, I'm good with that. I'm good with that.
Yeah, me too. I truly hope he does. Number one, because of the history we have with him. And number two is because I have a near mint autographed Derek Carr rookie card sitting in storage waiting. So if he retires a Raider, it's still worth something.
Yeah.
If he doesn't, then it's just, you know, another piece of paper with some ink on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, on the real, I do hope he does get that opportunity. I know a lot of the Raider Nation disliked him, and, you know, everybody has their own opinion, but at the end of the day, he did put work for us. He was a Raider fan prior to joining the organization. His family were Raider fans, so you know, I think it's well merited to give him that opportunity if he wants it, of course.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. And the thing is, you know, a lot of people, you know, we do say a lot of people don't like him, but a lot of people love him as well. I mean, I think it's, you know, pretty much split for the most part. Even the people who quote unquote don't like him, I think it was more like for instance me, like I don't dislike the guy. I was just ready to move on. That's all.
Right.
Which is not a bad thing, you know.
No,
I think
it's part of the game.
Yeah, it's part of the game. It's part of the business. Everyone moves on from you know, players at some point,
right.
You know. So, you know, one day, you know, the Chiefs may move on from Mahomes, or, you know, the 49ers moved on from Joe Montana at one point.
Exactly.
It just happens, you know.
Right.
So, but you know, I don't dislike the guy. I wish him the best. I mean, he, like I said, he gave us some stability for quite some time when we could not figure out the quarterback room. I mean, you know, so, you know, salute to him. And, you know, I definitely hope, you know, the people that kind of hate on him, they can kind of, you know, mend that. And, you know, at the end of the day, you know, once a Raider, always a Raider.
That's
you know,
right.
Even though it doesn't apply to everyone. I don't care what no one say. It doesn't apply to everyone.
Yeah, it doesn't apply to Randy Moss.
Yeah, or for me, it's it's always Antonio Brown. Even though he,
that fool.
Yeah,
I don't even think he was in the door long enough.
Yeah. I despise him. Like that. That's the one that I can't stand. So forget him.
Get that fool. But yeah, no, I truly hope the best for him. And you know, he did give us a lot of heart attack games, which made the games exciting.
Yeah.
But you know, now he's calling it a career. And salute to you, Derek. And I hope your family and your health continues to get better in the future. Alrighty, well, on that note, let's move on to our player transactions. I heard from the War Room, which if you guys don't know, that's the show that Chris does with Severe and 805, Sundays and Tuesdays. They were talking about all the transactions that had been occurring with the Raiders, you know, kind of like low key.
Yeah.
Getting rid of some players, bringing in some players. There's a pretty big list. I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players signed, 2, 4, 5, 6, 5 waived, 1 released. Out of all those names that I'm pretty sure you probably know by memory now, are there any players that have been signed that you have you believe they have potential to actually be part of the team or you know, practice squad or something?
Yes, I know we signed, I think Jalen Smith is on that list, the linebacker.
Jalen Smith, Jafari Harvey.
Yeah.
Katron Jackson, Kayshawn Smith, Wesley Steiner.
Yeah.
And Jonathan Sutherland.
Yeah, so I think like Sutherland, he actually played a lot of ball in college. He was like I think a 3-year captain, I believe, at Penn State. But yeah, Jalen Smith, I think, you know, he's played well in the past, but you know, his injuries. But coming out of college, he was, I think, either the first or second linebacker in that class.
Oh, okay.
But he had a bad injury in college that made him kind of drop a little bit. But yeah,
well, that's, you know, that's something that we need too, right? We need linebackers.
Yeah, yep, yeah. And you know, I think a lot of those guys are just going to be depth pieces or guys that's, you know, camp bodies, you know, that's going to come in and fight for a position and just compete. You know, some of those receivers on that list, they were you know, kind of the bigger body ass guys with some speed. We need that as well. So, you know, again, it's going to be some more guys. It's just going to be in camp and, you know, just making competition, you know, just pushing the guys that's already in there. And, you know, ultimately that's the goal of a Pete Carroll team. You know, you're going to have competition. Correct. You're going to always be competing. You're going to always have to give it your all. And I think that's what, you know, those guys that we signed, that's kind of what they're going to provide. So we'll see.
So then there's no red lights flashing on any of these players for you? Like
no,
nothing
I mean,
that stands out?
Yeah, to be honest, you know, if any of them make the 53 roster, I'll be surprised. Okay. You know, maybe Jalen, just depends on what his health is like. But yeah, I really think that, you know, if any of those make the 53, I'll be surprised.
Okay. And what about our wave players? So we have Dominic Boyd, Mari Burney, Matthew Butler, Tariq McAllister, and Brandon Smith.
Yeah, so the two names there are guys that we have to actually drafted. You know, Mari Burney, you know, to be honest, I wasn't a huge fan of his He just wasn't physical enough for me, you know, as a linebacker, but he was heck of an athlete. And I was just thinking that maybe he could continue to develop, but, you know, maybe the coaching staff saw something different. But I was, you know, whenever you expect your draft picks to make the team and continue to be on the team. So, and then also the same for, you know, Matthew Butler, another guy I was never really too high on. And honestly, I think the reason he got cut is just because we drafted some young guys on the defensive line that's really going to, you know, compete. And even the big Samoan guy, you know, that's part of that international team, the rugby player, you know, you get someone like him who doesn't know the game, but he has all the physical tools, you know, you almost want to, you know, make sure you give him some attention. And, you know, maybe some of those vets that's not really bringing much to the table, you go ahead and cut your losses.
And out of all these individuals that have been waived, is there possibilities of bringing them back for depth?
Yeah, you can, you know, you can always do that because there's going to be people that get hurt, and, you know, like especially someone like you know, Bernie or Matthew Butler, because they know Patrick Graham's system already. So, you know, sometimes you need another body out there practicing that kind of already knows what to do. So, you know, we just have to see, or they may sign on with another team and be in training camp with another team. So we'll just see.
Okay. And then the last one, the player that was released was Christian Wilkerson, wide receiver.
Yeah.
I see he's only 6'1". Was it because of the, you know, how now our team is getting much taller? You know, that he's kind of like not fitting into what they see.
Yeah, I mean, we seem to be bringing in some taller guys, but I think they were just wanting to move on from him. Because some of those receivers that you named earlier that we did sign, you know, those guys are, you know, kind of more explosive as far as like speed and some physical traits, you know. So honestly, I think he just kind of struggled, you know, last year. The year before, you know, he looked okay. You know, I think in preseason, I think that was the preseason that him in AOC really kind of lit it up together. But he just hasn't really hit, you know, got to put it all together. So, you know, I just think they're trying to move on and bring a little bit more, you know, more speed and, you know, playmaking ability.
Now, let me ask you, do you feel that he was given a fair shot during the regular season to show what he has? Because obviously we had some wide receivers ahead of him. So how was his opportunities out on the actual game? Were they viable enough to say, you know what, this kid ain't gonna cut it?
Well, I think the thing is, I'm not sure how much playing time he actually got, but you got to remember there was a time, especially like after Devontae, you know, when Devontae got hurt, quote unquote, before we traded him. I think Jacoby was hurt at one time, so I know we had to go pretty deep into our wide receiver room, and then especially after Devontae ended up leaving, you know, we had to kind of, you know, use some of those guys, and no one really stood out. You know, and plus, like, that's only the game. So that's the part that we see as fans. Right. We're not seeing the practices and the drills and, you know, like who's, you know, paying attention during film stuff. So, like, we don't know what the coaches are seeing. So maybe he just wasn't impressing, or he didn't gain the coaches. They didn't believe in him, you know, to be able to put him out there on the fields.
And then could it also have been the lack of running game that didn't give our wide receivers the opportunity to, you know, be able to get open? Because everybody knew, they can't run.
Yeah, no, for sure. A lot of that, I mean, it all kind of works together. You know, when you can't run the ball, when you don't have the right lineman up front, it just messes everything up, you know, and affects everyone out there. So, you know, if you don't have a running game, you know, it's so much easier for the defense to, you know, call a defense a game when you're one-dimensional, you know? Like, you know, the play action doesn't, you know, no one's fearing the play action because they know you're not going to hand it off. So it just makes it easier. You know, wide receivers, you can play them a lot different when you know that it's not a run. So, yeah, that could be part of it too.
Yeah, well, let's hope that the guys that we did pick up, you know, they actually do something for us. At least, you know, if they don't make the team, at least make it difficult for the ones that are to work hard.
Just compete, compete, you know, potentially, you know, end up on the practice squad if need be, you know.
Something, you know, something.
Put your best, you know, film out there.
Is there, out of the free agents out there right now, is there anybody you think the Raiders should pick up? You know, because I know obviously we're very in need of linebackers and obviously some more depth pieces in other positions. Is there any like key players right now that you've seen or heard that are out there?
You know, I wouldn't mind getting Clowney, you know, the edge rusher. You know, I just think having someone, you know, you can never have too many edge rushers. Like I love the thought of, you know, having a rotation of guys coming in. You know, when I think of, you know, the Philadelphia Eagles, you know, what made them so good and what made them be able to beat, you know, Mahomes and all that stuff. You know, you're being able to put constant pressure on them. Guys aren't tired, guys aren't winded. You're just coming at them in waves. So, you know, that, and also, you know, I haven't looked at the available linebacker class as of yet, but yeah, I still am a little worried about the linebackers we have. So we'll.
Okay. Well, Raider Nation, that was all the player transactions as of today, Thursday, which is when we recorded, but drop it Sunday. Now we're going to move on to the big topic, which is our schedule. It finally came out. We've known for months already who we were going to play, but we didn't know when we were going to play. So as of Wednesday, we know who we're going to play and when. If you guys haven't seen it, I'll put the schedule up here so you can check it out. I don't know if you have it handy, Chris. Do you have the schedule handy?
The schedule?
Yeah. If not, I could just call them out for you.
Yeah, actually, yeah, I got it. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, because the way I want to go through this, because I know you guys went in depth yesterday on your show, game by game. What I want to do is I want to do pre-buy, post-buy.
Okay.
You know, that way we kind of just can get an idea of what games we believe that they're going to win and lose. Yeah. And then, you know, what the possibilities are or what our record is going to be and possibilities of, you know, making the playoffs, if at all.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
So, well, the preseason starts with, we're going to play Seattle, which, you know, Pete Carroll is going to go home. Going to play them, doesn't matter. Going to play the 49ers at home, doesn't matter. And they're going to play Arizona Cardinals, doesn't matter. But, you know, they're there. So, so now going into week 1, we have the New England Patriots, win or lose, game 1.
Yeah, I got us winning that, but I think it's going to be a lot closer than what people think.
Oh, okay.
You know, I think a lot of people think we're just going to come in and smack them because they weren't that good last year, but they got a lot better. They had a heck of an offseason, so they added a lot of pieces. Josh McDaniels is going to be very motivated to, you know, kind of put it to us. So we'll see. But I got us with a dub.
Yeah, I'm kind of split on that one. Reason being is because they have Raiders 2.0 over there.
Yeah.
As far as like on defense.
Yeah.
So, you know, that, and then obviously McDumbass, you know, being over there as well, you know, and you know that as an offensive coordinator, you know, he's great.
Yeah.
You know, so, and then it's away, first game, you got the jitters, you got the adrenaline, you know, so that to me is a toss up, but based on our previous schedule, I mean, our previous history, I take that as a L.
Okay.
Just because of you know those factors.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. It makes sense.
I could be wrong, you know. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. So now
no, it makes sense. A lot of people I've been talking to just think it's going to be a cakewalk. I don't see that at all. I don't see it at all.
I don't see that either. I really don't. But the next game, which is going to be the awesome game for us, because we're going to be at that one, home opener Monday night. September 15th against the Chargers. If you guys didn't know, the War Room, which is Chris, 805, Severe, and myself, we're going to be attending this game together. We're going to hang out, have a good time, party with the Raider Nation, and watch a great Monday night game and the home opener nonetheless.
Oh, yeah.
So getting to that game, being that it's such a high visible game, it's a division rival. It's our first home game, so it's going to be packed with Raider fans. You know, what are your thoughts? Are we going to win or lose this sucker?
You know, it's going to be another tough game. I got us winning, man. And the reason is because, you know, Pete Carroll, you know, in his presser, you know, he kind of made it like a priority of defending our house. Getting the Raider Nation excited again, you know, to be able to, you know, have a true home field advantage again. So it seems like he's taking that seriously. So I think, you know, he's going to really want to put a stamp on his first home game for the Raiders, you know, in the black hole. So I expect our team to be fired up. So I got us winning this game. But it's going to be a fight. It's going to be a fight.
Gotcha. Yeah, me too. I think this definitely will be a win for us because of all those added pressures to the coaching staff, to the players, and the fans showing up and showing out, especially because of what happened last home opener.
Yeah.
Which everybody thought it was going to be a cakewalk. Oh, it's going to be an easy win.
Yeah.
It was against what, Carolina, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Carolina
to win that, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a horrible loss.
Yeah.
So I think they're going to remember that for this game, you know. So I think we're not gonna be a 63-20 something like last time, but it's definitely gonna be a close game. But I think we're definitely gonna pull that one out.
Yep.
Following week 3 is against the Washington Commanders. What are your thoughts on that one? Win or lose?
Yeah, I got us losing that. I think Washington, they got a nice young team. They're really on the incline. They're well coached. I think that's going to be a handful for us.
You know what? This is going to be one of those reverse trap games for me. I think that the Commanders are going to go in confident. Oh, it's the Raiders. We're going to mop them. You know, everything's new here.
Yeah.
But they're going to underestimate us.
Okay.
And we're going to take them down.
Okay.
You know, so I call that a dub.
Okay. Okay. Get that.
The following week 4, it's against the Bears. What are your thoughts on that one?
You know, a lot of people think that we're just going to beat them bad. I actually have us losing, man. I do.
Yeah.
I have us lose. The first 4 games, I got us at 500, 2-2.
Yeah, for me, even though as a Raider fan, I feel we're gonna lose, but because my best friend's a Bears fan,
they got to win now,
and we're going to that game.
We got to win.
They're gonna win.
You got to win that.
So that's a dub for me, just on pride alone.
Got to.
You know, and then we lost the last time we played against them.
Yeah, I was at that game. That was
you know,
tough.
So
that was tough.
We got to take this one, man. We definitely got to take it. And I think that if we start off the season with 2 home game wins, that is actually going to help the Raider Nation show up.
Oh yeah. You know. Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. Absolutely.
Hopefully we get that win. Next week 5 is against the Colts, away game. What are your thoughts? Win, lose?
I got us winning that. I'm probably going to go to that game. But yeah, I see us winning. You know, I think the Colts are still trying to find their identity, still trying to figure out what they want to do at quarterback. Yeah, I feel pretty good about that game.
Okay. Yeah, me too. They're kind of in a similar situation as us, but not as
dysfunction.
Solidified like in some of the positions. Our defense obviously is gonna do some work there. So I definitely think we're gonna get a dub on that one. Following week, Tennessee Titans. That's another home game.
Yeah, I got us winning that as well.
Okay.
And I think the Titans are just a few years away from really being able to be competitive. You know, they're trying to get some talent in that organization, so where they're working on it, but they got a lot of work to do. You know, they got a good young quarterback that I think is going to be good, but it's not going to be enough.
Yeah, same here. I got them on the dub. You know, just for those similar reasons as what you mentioned. You know, they're just not there yet.
Yeah.
You know, and if we go in with the momentum of winning at home, I feel that's going to carry through. And then if we come from Indy with a W, you know, that's definitely going to carry over.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, week 7, the week before our bye, away at KC.
Yeah,
What are your thoughts?
We actually usually play KC pretty well at home. And again, I think we're going to still play him pretty well, but I don't have us beating KC. I still think we're just we're a year or so away from really being able to, sorry about that beat, able to beat them consistently. I got us losing this one.
Yeah, me too. You know, that's still any given Sunday, you know, it could happen. You know, it's happened before, it was the Christmas miracle, but you know, still we're, like you mentioned, we're not quite there yet.
Yep.
You know, and KC's a lot of their players that got hurt last year are coming back. So so at that point,
they were banged up last year. They were banged up.
They're going to be definitely pretty strong.
Yeah.
You know, because they already have 6 games in the books. You know, so they're going to be ready for us. And then there's going to be a lot of tape for them to watch. For Genty and all those guys. So, you know, it's going to be a good game, but I still think it's definitely going to be a loss for us.
Yeah, no, I agree.
So right now, out of 7 games, you have it 4-3, 4 wins, 3 losses.
Yeah, 4-3, yep.
Yeah, and I have the same thing, but just in different games.
Different games, yeah.
4-3. Okay, so now we have the bye. And to me, these wins are definitely important because the bye's I think in a good position. It's early but still in a good spot, you know,
Yeah.
8th week. That's still pretty good.
Yeah.
But the thing for me is that if we don't get more wins than losses, we can kiss our season goodbye after this.
Yeah, because
as far as participation.
Yeah,
least,
yeah,
you know,
no,
because
I agree, because we go through a tough little spill in the back half of this season. So yeah, we gotta come away with at least 4 wins, you know, in them first 7 games.
Yeah, so I would have to say all the wins that we counted, they are must-win games. You know,
Yeah, I agree.
If we go 3-4, it's still teetering, but we
Yeah.
got to do 4. We got to come out into the bye with a winning record.
Yeah, I agree.
So coming in off the bye, we have in week 9, we have the Jacksonville Jaguars. What do you call that one?
It's gonna be a good game, but I have us winning that one.
Winning? Okay.
Yeah.
Got a dub. Yeah, me too. Just because, you know, again, they're not quite there yet.
Yeah.
You know, they're also a team that's struggling, you know, and it's at home. So hopefully, again, based on what we were mentioning earlier, if we have that home field advantage, you know, we can knock them out. Week after, week 10, we have a Thursday night game against the Donkey. Again, a lot of eyes on that game, division rivals, but it's an away game. Higher elevation, that always, you know, hurts us a little, helps the kickers, but you know.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, I got us winning that game. I'm not a believer in the Broncos. You know, I think that they had a little success last year, but I still think they're fool's gold. So I don't think their quarterback is exactly what they think he is. He's decent, but you know, I don't think he's a star that they think he is. I got us winning that game.
I would really, really want to. I want to say that they get the W, but I'm feeling that at this point, if we do go 4-3 before the bye, and then we do get the win at home against Jacksonville, I think this game is gonna bite us in the ass, and we're gonna go in a bit overconfident.
Yeah.
You know, and think that, you know, we're just gonna run over this team because we've been doing so well, and they're gonna sneak by us. You know, they're not gonna whoop us, but they'll sneak by us with a field goal or something.
Yeah, at the end. Yeah.
You know, so basically a trap game.
Yeah.
Now, week 11, big game, Monday night against the Cowboys at home. What are your thoughts on that one?
You know, at first I was really like, man, you know, us playing that Thursday and then having, you know, like an extended period to kind of like, you know, not play Dallas until that following Monday. I'm like, man, that's a nice little stretch where we get some extra days rest and in preparation.
11 days.
Yeah, so it's a lot of time. But then it was brought to my attention that Dallas is actually coming off of a bye week before they play us. So it's like it almost negates that little advantage that I thought we had, because you know, they almost pretty much have like 2 weeks, you know, in a way.
Right.
So yeah, so I actually got us losing this game, man. I think the Cowboys, we're gonna have an up and down season, but I think they have potential to be pretty dangerous, you know, with some of the new weapons that they got. So I think that's gonna be a tough one, a tough loss for us.
Well, see, for me, and again, this is all pride-based, because just like Severe mentioned yesterday, here in the LA area, there are a lot of Raider fans, but there are Cowboy fans too.
Yeah.
And they are some annoying Cowboy
That's what
fans.
everybody says. That's what everybody says, man.
Yeah, man. You know, I have friends that are Cowboy fans that are cool. You know, some of my fraternity brothers, they're cool. They're Cowboy fans, but the majority, oh my God, they are so annoying.
Yeah.
And just for that, I think we're gonna win.
Hey, I love it.
You know, just
Trust
for that.
me, I hope you're right.
You know, I think just to shut them up, and I hope to God that we do win, because if not, I'm not going to
shut up. They don't shut up.
I'm not going to hear the end of it. So, you know, I'm hoping, praying that we get a win that day. You know, but see what it is. Next week, week 12, November 23rd, against Cleveland Browns is the game we attended last year.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, so it's a repeat at home again.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I think we should take care of business there. The Browns are just kind of trying to figure themselves out. You know, they're trying to figure out what they're going to do at quarterback, and they got a lot of new players in there, so they're still trying to build their foundation. I think we've always kind of had Cleveland's number, so I think we should be good.
Yeah, me too. You know, I definitely think that we definitely will take this one, especially because I'm going to be there with my family, and it's my weekend birthday, so they're going to win it for me.
Nice. There
but
you
no,
go.
the team still again, it's one of those teams that aren't quite there yet, not sure what they're going to do, with their players or whatnot. Who knows, maybe by November, they become a great team again as they were a few years back. We don't know, but based on their previous history, they're still up in the air.
Yeah, I agree.
And I definitely give us that win for the home field advantage that hopefully at this point, it's just going to be crazy, yeah. So let's hope we take that dub with against Cleveland.
Yeah.
Following week, that is week 13. It's another home game here in LA for us, November 30th against the LA Chargers. What do you think on that one?
I actually got us losing that. We tend to have issues in SoFi. Yeah, I got us losing. I think it's fair to say we'll probably split with the Chargers. Yeah, I feel like we always kind of split with them anyway. So I just feel that that's kind of where we'll be.
Yeah, me too, man. It's the SoFi curse, man. We've only won one game there, and that's when no fans were there.
Yeah.
I don't know if the Raider Nation has to boycott that game for them to win,
Yeah.
I don't know, man. But I definitely think we're gonna lay a goose egg on that bad boy. So let me see. Week after, we see Denver again, but at home, December 7th. What do you think? You think we're gonna take that one?
There's another. I think we're gonna split with them.
Split them?
I think we're gonna take a L here. 2-game losing streak. Gonna it's gonna be a tough loss, but I got a feeling they'll get us.
Okay. Yeah, actually, I see us winning that one just again on the merit of our winning schedule at this point.
Okay.
Because I see us having we're at 8 wins already. So I'm thinking we're cooking with grease here. We're charging 100%. Hopefully. No injuries. Everybody's still cool, handling business. So I definitely think we do take that.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely winnable for sure.
Yeah. Now, the next week, here comes the big one against the Philadelphia Eagles at Philadelphia.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, I think we're going to go down once again with 3-game win streak. 3-game losing streak. Losing 4 out of our last 5 games. I think it's just going to be tough. Philly is just they're just a good team. They're well coached. They got
Super Bowl champs for a reason, right?
Yeah, they got a nice roster. So yeah, we don't have the arsenal to be able to really fight with them right now.
No, not at all. I definitely think that is definitely a loss for us. Especially it's an away game.
Yeah.
And they are the defending Super Bowl champions. But there is a sliver of possibility.
Yeah.
Because the Raiders are known to do that, man.
Yeah.
You've done it against Baltimore, done it against KC. So, it's there's a sliver, but still, ideally speaking, it's definitely a loss.
Yeah, for sure.
So now we move to week 16, another away game against the Houston Texans. What are your thoughts on that one?
Hate to say it, man. I think we're going to lose that one too. I really think this last half of the season is tough. That's 4 in a row. I think we're going to lose. I think some impatient fans are going to kind of be grumbling a little bit. But with me being able to kind of curb my expectations, I'm still trusting the process. But I do think Houston, they're a good young team, good coach team. I think they'll get us.
Okay. Yeah, with them, I'm up in the air.
Yeah.
Because I really don't know much of what Houston's been doing, their acquisitions, their previous record.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to go with you, and I think it's a loss.
Yeah.
It's sad because I've been hearing a lot of rumblings within the Raider Nation that Raider Nation is going to show up to that game.
Yeah. In fact, that's one of the games I want to go to myself. So,
So, that to me, I'm hoping that they do get the dub on that.
Yeah.
For all the nation that is going to be in attendance. But, based on what you're mentioning, I believe it'll be a loss as well.
Yeah.
All right. And now following week, it's a to be determined game, week 17 against the New York Giants. What do you think of that one?
Yeah, I think we kind of get back into the win column. I got us winning that game. The Giants are still, trying to find themselves. Young team trying to put those building blocks together. But I do have us winning.
Okay. Yep. Same here. Another struggling team. Towards the end of the season, I'm pretty sure if they haven't done anything good at this point, they're just kind of trying to finish off the year, trying to highlight reel type plays and players. So
yeah.
yeah, we'll definitely get the dub there. And finally, week 18, again, another to be determined home game against Kansas City Chiefs. What do you think of that one?
Yeah, I got us. Unfortunately, I got us losing that. I think there'll be playoff implications there. Maybe a situation if we win, we're in. Because honestly, 9 games sometimes can get you in the playoffs. But I think we're going to end up around eight wins. Yeah, it's just again, I just don't think we're going to be able to compete right now with Kansas City. I think that Christmas game, we kind of let they let that one slip away. But I think that Andy Reid is going to make sure his team is always locked in against us going forward. So, and plus we know they always got the 13th man on the field, or the 12th man on the field, which is a referee. So
right.
That's a whole different conversation.
Yeah, I personally initially had thought that KC was going to take it, but then I had heard, I forgot where, that maybe at this point in the schedule, being that it is the last game of the season, and more than likely KC is going to make the playoffs.
Yeah,
that they're going to sit a lot of their starters. So
it's possible, but I think if it's a situation where it's a last game of the season and it's a game that could get us in the playoffs, I think they may play their players.
You think so?
Even if they're in the playoffs, just because
you think that the hatred is that
yeah,
big?
I mean, because you got to think, man, like how crazy it was when we beat them on Christmas, or even going back to the John Gruden day when we took the little loop around the stadium after we beat them, or even the game where because Josh Jacobs was talking about it before the game started. They went on the logo, on the Kansas City logo.
Oh yeah.
There's little stuff like that. I just think KC's like, nah, whatever we can do to cause them harm and bring turmoil to their life, we're going to do. So Mahomes, get out there. So
gotcha. Yeah, well, I definitely think if that's the case, that they will take the dub, and we will end up the season on a good note. So based on the tabulation here, we got you at 8-9 for the season, which is, it's great. It's actually what we have been talking about, which is 100% better than last year.
Exactly.
So that to me, it's still a good season.
It's a success. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it's very successful. Pete Carroll did his job. The coaches did their jobs. The players did their jobs.
Yeah,
that would be great. For some reason, and I know two of these games are more on the pride side.
Sipping on the Kool-Aid, Dub. You sipping on the Kool-Aid.
They got me at 9. Well, no, because it's the Bears game and the Cowboys game.
Yeah.
Those are pride because of my best friend and because of my Cowboy friends.
Yeah.
So those can tip the scales to 7 and 10.
Yeah.
Or 8 and 9. Yeah. But right now I have them at 9 and 8. Which, like you said, it could be a potential.
Yeah. We can slip in the playoffs. Yeah, we can slip in there. You never know.
Which at the end of the day, as long as we have a good season, definitely going to be better than last year.
Yeah.
Even if we get 6 wins, it's better than last year. But I think we need to get these key wins in at the opportune times, because if we get them after the bye, yeah, it's still going to hurt, but I don't think it'll hurt as much as we get the losses before the bye.
I agree.
I think if we do get a lot of losses before the bye, our season's done as far as fan support.
Be a snowball effect for sure.
And we definitely need that. We need the Raider Nation needs to stay strong, needs to understand that it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah.
That this is going to take years to develop. It's not going to be, this year we're automatically going to the playoffs. Next year we're automatically going to the Super Bowl. No, it doesn't work that way.
No, because for the longest time we were always, just putting Band-Aids on things.
Right.
We weren't really fixing the problem. And I feel like Pete is going to make sure we're building this foundation correctly. Right. And just so we can have sustainable success, not just playoff appearance here and then not one until 10 years after that. Like, we want to become a team that's dominant in the AFC for years to come. And it's not going to happen overnight, but we're heading in the right direction. Definitely. And I think that based on our competition within the AFC West, it's hard, but that's how you get better. Yep. Battle tested. You compete against great teams
you're going to get better. Because if you compete with mediocre to low end teams,
yeah,
you're going to be who you are.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, so
I
think that's great for us and great for the Raider Nation. And again, Raider Nation, stay strong. You know, keep the faith. You know, it's going to take some time, but we got to be there, got to support our team, got to wear our colors like we always do.
Yep.
So with that, Raider Nation, that was all the topics for this week on Chris's Weekly Word. Chris, we have no Football 101 this week. So let the Raider Nation know what you got going, my brother, because I know you guys have a couple of shows coming up. You have a show actually recording today, Thursday.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
Right?
So
and then with
today, have my chill talk Thursday. It may just be like a short show just because I did so much. Because I don't know if you even knew, but after our scheduled release party, I went and did another show right after that because people in the chat were like, Chris, just stay on and do. So me and Severe did like another like hour or so after that.
Shut up.
Yeah. So
that would have been like 3-4 o'clock in the morning for you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. And
Holy crap.
Yeah, I had a few drinks in me too, so we were having fun, man. It was fun.
You had that liquid courage.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
We were talking all kinds of stuff because I always like doing shows with Severe, so it was more of like a laid back. We were just kind of talking random topics and stuff, and it was definitely a good show. It was a good show.
Do you have it? On your YouTube site?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go check it out there.
Yeah. It was fun. It was fun.
That's dope. So then you're gonna have a short show today?
Yeah, more than likely. Yeah, and then as you guys know, this show airs on Sunday.
Right there.
And then I got my show with the War Room with my brothers on Sunday and Tuesday, and I got my show on Wednesday with Spicy Raider Girl, and that's called Spicy Shield Talk. So yeah, I'm just grinding right now, man. Just trying to get some more interviews lined up, and I just pushing out this content, man.
Yes, sir. Yeah, right now it's been somewhat slow, but the season's creeping up on us.
Yeah.
I have a feeling you're going to be busier than ever, my brother.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because now that there's going to be a lot more going on, we're going to actually have games, and I'm pretty sure there's going to be a lot of people reaching out to you.
Yeah.
To interview and whatnot.
Yep.
So again, Raider Nation, if you don't follow or haven't seen Chris's shows, please go to his site. It's Protect the Shield on YouTube. He's also on Instagram, on TikTok. On TikTok, right?
Yeah.
TikTok.
Yep. On everything.
He's on everything. Everything's down here. Just check it out. Like, subscribe, follow. Same for our show here. Please spread the word to the Raider Nation.
Yep.
Everything we do out here, the information we put out here is for the Raider Nation. We try to keep it simple. If you guys need more, again, the Raider War Room, Spicy Shield Talk, Chris has you covered.
Yep.
Go to his page and he will take care of you.
Yep.
So Raider Nation, with that said, thanks for being here. If you have any questions, any topics that you guys want us to cover, any news that you guys know about that we might not have heard of, please drop us a line on any of our social media accounts here on YouTube. Like, subscribe, follow, share, do what you got to do. Spread the word to the Raider Nation. Because remember, everything we do is for the nation, by the nation. Peace.
Raider!